Let's be honest. Most of the chaos in our lives doesn't come from the world outside. It comes from the storm inside our heads. That buzzing phone call, that delayed train, that weird silence in the group chat. Your brain takes it all and runs wild, weaving imaginary disasters, worst-case scenarios, and dramatic exits worthy of a soap opera. But most of the time, it's not a crisis. It's just life. Being life. Welcome to Guide to Reads, where we trade panic for perspective. Because while you can't always calm the world down, you can calm yourself. Today, we open a book that doesn't sugarcoat or sidestep. Sarah Knight's Calm the Fck Down is part pep talk, part tough love, and one big, bold invitation to stop giving energy to what doesn't deserve it. Let's face it, stress is universal. You don't need to be in the middle of a mental health crisis to feel overwhelmed. Life throws curveballs, from annoying to devastating. And whether it's a messy breakup, a missed deadline, or the feeling that everything's falling apart, the emotional flood is real. But here's the shift. You can't always control the waves. What you can control is how you surf them. At the center of calm is one essential skill: discernment, knowing what's in your hands and what never was. That clarity? It changes everything. Instead of spiraling, you pause. Instead of lashing out, you lean in. Instead of falling apart, you take the next step, even when your world feels like it's wobbling. This book offers no illusions. It doesn't promise that life will stop being hard, but it does offer tools, practical, blunt, and brilliantly useful, for staying grounded in the storm. In this episode, we'll explore how to recognize what's really stressing you out, how to accept what you can't fix, and how to act wisely on what you can. We'll also talk about managing your energy, physical, emotional, and mental, like the precious currency it is. Because staying calm isn't about pretending nothing's wrong. It's about handling what's wrong without losing yourself in the process. One note before we begin: as the title suggests, this episode comes with a healthy dose of strong language. So if little ears are nearby or your threshold for F-bombs is low, consider that your friendly heads up. Ready? Let's begin. 1. When life gives you lemons. When life gives you lemons, you squeeze them in your eyes, cry dramatically, and spiral into a full-blown meltdown. Right? Not exactly. See, life does toss lemons. Constantly. Missed flights, awkward texts, lost jobs, existential dread. They come in all shapes and zesty little sizes. But the freak out that follows? It doesn't always look like flailing arms and screaming into the void. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's loud, sometimes it wears a mask. Because the truth is, we all freak the fuck out. But we do it in different costumes. And before we get to fixing the mess or managing the stress, it helps to name what kind of freak out we're dealing with. According to Sarah Knight, that freak out often walks in wearing one of 4 very familiar faces. Face 1, anxiety. That buzzing, insistent voice in your head, spinning what-ifs like a DJ on too much caffeine. It's the mental hurricane that won't shut up, and sometimes the only way to quiet it is to redirect your attention elsewhere. Focus on the absurd, the mundane, the tiny details, like how weirdly enthusiastic your coworker is about socks. Yes, socks. Distraction is not denial. It's first aid for a scrambled brain. Face 2, sadness. That heavy fog that rolls in and makes even the smallest task feel like a mountain. You don't need to fix your life in that moment. You just need to be gentle with yourself. Treat yourself as you would a dear friend who's down. That could mean a nap, a snack, a playlist, or a 10-minute video of raccoons stealing things. You are allowed to pause and be soft. Face 3, anger. The wildfire. The clenched jaw. The inner monologue that could probably get you fired if spoken out loud. Here's a tip. Before acting on that impulse, fast forward to future you. The one who punched a wall and now needs drywall repair. The one who sent that email and now needs a new job. That little flash forward might be all you need to cool down. Face 4, avoidance, the smooth-talking voice that says, if you ignore it long enough, it might just vanish. But you and I both know it won't. Avoidance is comforting, until it's not. So start tiny, reply to the one message, make the one call, stand up, take a shower. Just move. Movement breaks the trance. Now let's be clear. None of these tricks are long-term fixes. They're not meant to magically solve whatever lemon-flavored chaos life's thrown your way. But they are powerful in the short term. Because sometimes, in the middle of a freakout, what you need isn't a master plan. You need a foothold, a moment of sanity, a little sugar to sweeten the sour. Self-awareness is your first tool. Because once you recognize the shape your stress is taking, you can begin to reshape your response. And maybe, just maybe, you'll start turning those lemons into something not only drinkable, but surprisingly refreshing. So, drink up. We're just getting started. 2. Step 1. Acknowledge. The mind has a habit of turning up the volume when you least expect it. One moment you're cruising through your day, and the next, boom, your internal DJ cues up a remix of ambient anxiety, dread, and emotional chaos, all at full blast. Fear, guilt, worry, frustration, and none of them RSVP'd. Take a breath. No, really, take one. It's okay. Calm the fuck down. Here's the thing. Your emotions aren't the villain of this story. They're just trying to do their job. Warn you, protect you, signal something important. The trouble only begins when you let them drive, because the second you hand over the keys, you're no longer steering toward a solution. You're stuck at the front door, paralyzed, staring at the mess. So what's the first move? Step back. Identify. Acknowledge. Anxiety doesn't show up uninvited. It rides in on the back of a what if. What if I lose my job? What if the test results are bad? What if this conversation with my mother-in-law goes nuclear? But once you name that what if, something powerful happens. You shrink the monster. You reclaim control. You stop fighting shadows and start facing something real. And once it's named, ask the golden question. Can I control this? It sounds simple, maybe even obvious, but don't underestimate its power. That one question divides your world into two halves. What you can affect and what you can't. And anything on the can't list? It doesn't deserve your energy. Let it go, but don't rush. Before launching into fix-it mode, take a moment to feel, not wallow, not spiral, just feel. Think of your emotions like a litter of puppies, noisy, restless, untrained. Sometimes you've got to let them run in circles, burn off steam, and bark at nothing. Then, when they're tired, you gently guide them back. You don't have to be a Zen monk on a mountain. You're human. Some days you're cool and composed. Other days you're curled up on the couch, ugly crying into a bucket of popcorn chicken. That's normal. The goal isn't to avoid emotional turbulence. The goal is to come back from it faster, to stop the spiral before it becomes a landslide. To take that anxious thought, trace it to its root, and decide, is this worth my focus, or just stealing my peace? And in that process, in that pause, you find clarity, you find calm, you find the part of you that knows what to do next. So the next time the emotional chaos crashes your mental party, don't slam the door or let it wreck the place. Invite it in, hear it out, and then decide who stays and who's shown the way out. And if all else fails, you've still got some popcorn chicken in the fridge. Small victories count too. 3. Step 2. Accept. So, you've done the work. You've named the storm. You've mapped the terrain. You've let your emotions stretch their legs and run a few frantic laps. Good. That matters. But here's the hard truth. Naming the storm doesn't make it vanish. And unfortunately, life's messes don't come labeled with warning signs or hazard levels. There's no polite voice saying, "You are now entering a Category 3 emotional breakdown. Please remain seated." Nope. They arrive fast, loud, and uninvited. But here's where wisdom steps in. You may not get to choose the weather, but you do get to choose how you prepare for it. Let's talk about your inner probometer, your personal radar for assessing whether that spike of anxiety is justified or just your brain being dramatic again. Run a quick scan. Ask, is this crisis likely or just loud? Are we looking at a passing cloud or the makings of a full-blown disaster? Here's a simple calibration. If your worry feels like a Category 1 or 2, meaning unlikely or minor, give yourself permission to let it go. Release it like a balloon into the sky. You've got better things to hold on to. If it seems more like a Category 3 or 4, okay, preparation is warranted, not panic. Preparation, there's a big difference. And if it's Category 5, already circling overhead or pounding your roof, That's when it's time to ground yourself, take shelter, and respond with clarity, not chaos. But don't stop there. Ask one more question, one that anchors everything. When is this going to hit? Because not every storm is immediate. Some are way out on the horizon, and worrying about them now is like packing an emergency kit for 2037. Others are looming closer, visible, but still in the distance. And then there are the ones already breaking things. Those demand attention, fast. Now comes the return to the magic question. Can I control this? If yes, focus your energy there. Act. If no, conserve. You only have so much to give. Don't throw your energy into the wind hoping it'll blow the storm away. It won't. Sometimes acceptance is the most powerful move you can make, because acceptance doesn't mean surrender. It means facing reality and choosing not to drown in it. It means saying, "This is happening. I don't love it, but I'll meet it." Not with panic, but with presence. Storms will come. That's life. But when you learn to acknowledge them, assess their size, accept what can't be changed, and focus on what can, you become something storms cannot easily shake, resilient. And sometimes that is what gets you through, not fixing the world, but refusing to fall apart as it turns.
4. Step 3. Address. If you've made it this far, through the fog of panic, the sting of uncertainty, the blur of emotions, then congratulations, you've done the inner work. Now it's time to move from mental management to tactical movement. The freakout has flared. Now comes the question that matters most. What are you going to do about it? Let's not waste time spinning in circles. When life goes sideways, it's easy to fall into the trap of "why me?" or "who screwed this up?" But as satisfying as blame might feel in the moment, it's a dead-end road. Blame doesn't solve problems, it just burns daylight. So instead of dissecting the why, shift your focus to the what now, because that's where your power lives. Here's your 3-part roadmap to dealing with any crisis, from a small snag to a full-blown meltdown. Step 1. Take stock. Pause, breathe, and look. Really look at what's in front of you. Is that terrifying, slithering shape truly a snake? Or is it just the garden hose your kid forgot to coil up? Don't let your imagination turn tents into temples. Before reacting, assess what's real, what's happening, not what you fear is happening. Step 2. Define your RIO, your realistic ideal outcome. This isn't about fantasizing a perfect ending where unicorns fly in and save the day. This is about getting real. What outcome can you reasonably aim for here? What would better look like? Not perfect, just better, and what's totally outside your control. Drawing that boundary between what's fixable and what isn't, that's where peace begins. Step 3. Triage. Yes, triage. Like in the emergency room. Not every crisis deserves equal attention. Some things need handling now, others can wait. If your dinner plans collide with your partner going into labor, well, guess who's eating takeout at the hospital? Prioritizing isn't cold, it's wise, because your energy, time, and patience aren't infinite. Think of them as your freakout funds, and those funds are precious. Spend them recklessly, and you'll end up broke in the middle of a disaster. But spend them wisely on what you can influence, on what matters most. And suddenly, you're not just surviving the chaos. You're managing it, guiding it, calming the FK down. On your own terms. Here's the truth few people say out loud. You don't need to fix it all. You don't need the master plan, the magic words, or a flawless response. What you need is clarity, presence, a willingness to do what matters, when it matters. And the more you practice it, the more you learn to pause, prioritize, and preserve your freakout funds, the stronger, calmer, and more capable you become. Not just when life falls apart, but every single time it tries to. So address the mess, not with panic, but with purpose. Not to control everything, but to choose what deserves your energy. Because that, dear listener, is how you take your power back. Final summary. Calm isn't a destination, it's a discipline. At the heart of this book lies a quiet revolution, that peace is not the absence of chaos, but the way we meet it. Sarah Knight doesn't ask us to erase anxiety, silence fear, or bottle up frustration. Instead, she invites us to become fluent in our own storms, to name them, face them, and ultimately outgrow the parts of ourselves that used to fall apart when life got hard.
It begins with acknowledgement. The brave and honest act of saying, I see what's happening. Naming the fear. Hearing the panic. Feeling the weight. Without judgment. Without shame. Then comes acceptance. Not surrender, but strategic stillness. The wisdom to say, this is real, but not all of it is mine to carry. You learn to sort the possible from the probable, the controllable from the cosmic. From there, we address. Not with frantic energy, but with intention. We triage. We prioritize. We protect our time, our sanity, our sacred freakout funds. Because survival isn't just about reacting. It's about choosing how to respond, when, and why. And so, the message becomes clear. You don't need to be unshakable to be strong. You don't need to fix everything to move forward. You don't need to wait until the storm passes to live your life. You just need to learn when to care, when to let go, and when to order popcorn chicken and call it a win. The truth is, you won't stop life from throwing lemons, but you can stop letting every dropped fruit become a crisis. So the next time your mind spins out, remember this. Calm the fuck down. You've got the tools. You've got the truth. Now all that's left is practice. If this episode steadied your thoughts or brought you a smile in the storm, don't let it end here. Subscribe to Guide to Reads. Share it with the ones who need a breath of calm, and let your next click carry wisdom forward. Until next time, breathe deep, stay curious, and carry on.